Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Deadpool and Death. I am Big Red, and I'm here today with Sam Proof, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about what he does and the fun things that he's into in the nerd world. So, Sam, why don't you tell me a little bit about what you do, and we'll go from there.
I think it would be easier to tell you about what I don't do. No,
Okay.
I do a lot. I've been in the world of live streaming since 2005. So
Oh.
live streaming, video creation, and I put a focus on board games, if you can't tell. So I do a lot of board game stuff. I do an interactive board game stream. These days, I'm playing Zombicide, which is this big box right here.
Sure.
Zombicide is a modern day post apocalyptic game in which you or a group of players take on the persona of the heroes and fight just an everlasting supply of zombies for different missions, things like that. And I've taken it to the next level in which I play on Twitch and I invite my viewers to either help or hinder the hero's progress by doing things like giving them more rerolls or extra actions or dropping more zombies on the board. Inevitably, they drop more zombies on the board.
Sort of the evil ones.
Yeah. For
um,
some reason, people like to take the side of the undead. It's unnatural.
How dare they? I guess that's what it kind of keeps you on your toes and kind of keeps things
Yeah.
kind of rolling, so to speak.
Right. Yes. There's I think the biggest chaos of the whole thing isn't the strategy behind how do I get out of here. It's how long is it going to take me to put 70 more zombies on this board? Takes a while.
Semantics, you know. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about where all of this started from?
Sure. This is my favorite story in which I don't die in the end, which is I answered a Craigslist ad and that sent me down a path of just craziness. So yeah, I was living in the heart of Hollywood, Los Angeles. Um,
Okay.
I came out to be a writer, and then I was like, "Well, I'm out here. I might as well try acting." So I saw an ad in a paper in Craig or in a paper in on a computer on Craigslist for this casting call. I went to this crappy little back alley area, and I was like, "This, I'm gonna die probably. This is
Most
where it
likely
all."
in the scenario, the
Yeah.
probability is high.
But so I go inside and they have this is actually at like the back of a prop house, so the front's like a legit business, so clearly this is where the mafia is and you die. I go in and they have this big sort of warehouse garage room, and just jutting down the middle of it is a cloth green screen. It's like a 40-foot green screen that divides the room in half, and on either side are about 5 different computer stations, and it's this company. It was like the first time I'd ever heard of live streaming. I had no idea what it was, but their whole thing was they were a live streaming platform. It was, way before Twitch, 2005, something like that. And they just wanted people to come in and stream, and keep your clothes on, which thank God for that. Um, and so yeah, and I figured out a bunch of different things. I had a bunch of friends in the art world, so I did a bunch of interview shows, kind of like this, but about art. Um, and I did that every day, every week for a while until they changed their entire thing and went away. But it
That's
was my
pretty
first
progressive
taste
for
of it.
2005.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, like YouTube was barely a thing at that point. Like
Yeah.
YouTube didn't really start until the next year. Um, and yeah, the minute I got a taste of like this immediate interaction with people across the world, I was hooked, and I was like, I'm doing this for the rest of my life. Whatever this is, I will be doing
Down.
this as a hobby, as a job, whatever I can do. And that took me here.
Sweet. Sweet. Okay, so on theme of nerd culture, right? So like I think you're around my age, right?
Mhm.
So you grew up with Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh yeah.
So what was your favorite cartoon to sit down in front of the TV and eat a bowl of cereal with?
I loved everything. I would watch for hours, and now I'm so against that with my own kids. That's another story, another story. But if I had to pinpoint, I mean, I was a huge Transformers, G.I. Joe fan. I loved all the Looney Tunes and stuff like that. But I think if I were to definitively say my favorite show, it would be, and I don't know how many people are going to recognize this, Star Blazers.
Star Blazers.
Star Blazers was kind of like the first touch into like the anime world.
Okay.
So kind of a Voltron Power Rangers thing going on, but
I was thinking like the blue guy with the blonde hair, but that's something else. That's like they were like in space, but they were like pirates on a ship, like an actual like ship.
Okay, so it might be because Star Blazers, they were in the battleship Yamamoto.
Okay.
And it was literally like a World War II style warship that they put a giant propulsion engine on.
That might be okay.
Somehow they went into outer space. But yes, the enemies were blue guys.
Right.
So yeah, I think that is what you're thinking of.
Fuck physics. Who needs it?
Yeah. It's a spaceship.
Okay, so what are some of your favorite announcements that have been made recently surrounding like the fun pop culture side?
Oh God. I mean, like I'm super into a lot of like high fantasy kind of stuff. So when Willow got turned into a serial, I was like so on board for that, and it did not disappoint. It's good.
There's so much content. I can't make it through it all.
I know. And there's so many things. So I just had this debate with a friend of mine who was like, also in our range.
I was going to say, do they even know who the OG Willow is at this point?
Right. Yeah. But no, this is just about the difference between sort of binging and like weekly drops of content. And I was like, in theory, I love the concept of weekly drops because then I can just look forward to something, and then there's not as much like pressure as a content creator to be like, I have to talk about every single episode of this thing before it's no longer in the zeitgeist, which is immediately over already. But at the same time, with those weekly shows, I forget I've started to watch it, and 6 months down the line, somebody's like, Endor was amazing, and I was like, crap, I'm 2 episodes in on that. I'm still like 3 episodes in on that. Maybe I don't know. Maybe more.
Same.
Yeah, but like I love all the fantasy stuff. I'm like, give it to me. I will binge that right away. So Willow,
wake up 5 days later and you realize you haven't showered or brushed your teeth, but you reminded yourself to drink some water, so you're good.
I mean, I drink coffee all day long. That has water in it. There's some mathematical percentage of that makes sense, right? I gotta do that now.
I have a timer that's set on my phone so that whenever it goes off, I have to drink water. That's just to remind myself to kind of stay hydrated. But
there's a wave of people on Twitch where I live stream that you can have these interactive buttons where they pay like channel points, which is a loyalty point on Twitch that you earn for watching a stream. And these people will create buttons that say hydrate. And so whenever somebody collects on that, they have to take a drink.
Okay. That would.
And I'm like, that sounds like torture. Just regular water. How?
I love it though. All right, so why don't you I'm going to let you do a screen share, and I'm going to let you kind of show us what you kind of got. If you would like to show us a little bit more about your game, are you prepared for that, or would you like to just tell us more about it?
I don't really have anything. I did not prepare that. Like I have a landing page about the show, but it's not very visual right now.
Okay,
I just really started getting to that.
Why don't you just kind of review the game and kind of go over some of the mechanics?
Yeah. So this is Zombicide. So Zombicide is produced by Cool Mini or Not and Guillotine Games.
Ooh.
Right? And this is one of so many big boxes that they've made. Right here is the expansion, Toxic City Mall. They, as a company, essentially set the bar on how other board games use Kickstarter to fundraise board games. Like they're one of the first big box games that sort of established like you're gonna get really nice minis. I don't know how well that comes across. It's a big
no, that's
zombie.
good.
Yeah. So you're gonna get like 100 really nice minis in your game. And then they do like 50 different stretch goals. So it's like, oh yeah, we're trying to do this. But then if we hit $10,000, we're gonna release, the punk rock zombie. If we do $20,000, we're gonna release the mama zombie. Blah, and they just have this formula down to the point where everyone else is following it now and copying that. And they religiously like schedule these Kickstarters. I think they do 6 a year at this point.
Oh,
It might
that's
be
fun.
more. Yeah, they're a machine.
So do
And
they do all their own printing, or do they like outsource that, or how does that work?
um so I hope they don't come after me to break my leg. So I believe Cool Mini or Not is doing the printing,
Right,
and Guillotine is just creating I think I might have that switch, creating like the game itself.
right.
But yeah, I assume ship like everything
Well,
in from a Chinese distributor who's printing it, like actually putting it all together and then go from there.
right.
But yeah.
Well, that's what manufacturing. A lot of
Yeah.
the places. I mean, that's pretty well how it's done. I love the fact though that they're able to have all of that design creative in
Yeah.
house and then ship it off with the advent of 3D printing. It's
Oh my God.
wonderful,
Yeah.
and but I know that a lot of people, especially in the toy industry, whenever they're actually getting some things manufactured, that they're having issues with supply chain. So I just wondered if that was affecting them
It's
at all.
yeah. I'm not too up to date on how it's affecting them
I'm a nerd
specifically.
whenever
Yeah,
it
but
comes to
no,
that kind of
like
stuff.
so many board game publishers have had this issue where, they'll complete a Kickstarter and then it's like, so that'll be there in 2 years.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yes. Well, either
Yeah.
that or like the shipping now that the shipping route has actually been kind of closed off. Now
Yeah.
they're relying on air, which is way more expensive. But
So yeah.
so then
Yeah,
small
they're
businesses are kind of failing because they can't eat all of that overhead and make a profit and still sell to the
right.
customers.
Yeah, the profit margins I was gonna say are razor thin right now. I think it's getting better, but it's been a tough like 3 to 5 years for the board game industry in general with
Right.
this whole thing. Um, I've seen a lot of companies, especially like the really small ones, who like 5 years ago were looking like real good and starting to expand on what they do, and then pulled back completely to we just do card games. We can get those printed in the
Yeah.
US. And
Plastics
like,
plastics are hard
yeah,
because of the supply chain break, for
yeah,
sure. But that's even why it's even more important to really support these indie board game makers, because that is a
it's
really cool concept, and they're not just putting out one product and riding those coattails for
yeah,
the end of eternity. They're actually
right.
developing it more, and it says a lot about their trade.
Yeah, I mean, and that company in particular, and they do more. These are also Cool Mini or Not. This is also Cool Mini or Not. So they do more than just Zombicide. Zombicide is their zombie thing, um, but they continually update the brand and put out entire new lines, and they just redid the whole thing. So this was like the
Ooh,
original. They just did a reprinting and changed some of the core rules so that they could put out a second, an updated second version. And then with that came like a whole RPG role-playing system.
ooh.
So they've evolved it to something bigger and better, hopefully. I haven't taken a look at that yet.
That's a really smart business model though, because
Yeah.
it keeps people engaged, because I know that, well, there are some board games that you just play and then you get tired of them, but like
Monopoly.
having that interaction and change is great.
Yes. Yeah, I think so. I think it makes it more interesting, which I actually do on the show as well. I don't stick to just their, core canon stuff. I have a lot of homebrew things that I have put in there. So
So then you kind of
there,
have the freedom to kind of make a few rules and things to kind of
yeah,
make it your own world.
yeah. So one of the cool things to start with it is it's a modular map in the first place where you have these tiles. So you like just put tiles together and suddenly you
Oh,
have a
okay.
city or
So
whatever.
so it's like
Uh,
Carcassonne, only zombies are eating you.
yeah. And then yeah, I've taken to taken it to the next level where they have about 4 or 5 different types of zombies. Within like well, sort of. So you have your walkers, you have your fatties, which people don't like to say anymore, so I call them mini bosses, and you have runners and you have abominations, and then there's like variations of like toxic or oh god, what are the other ones? I can't even remember. But then I've taken that and I've been like, so we have like rock skin zombies that are twice as hard to kill, and radioactive zombies and things like that.
How do
And
you kill
people,
them? Like I'm
the
interested.
rock skin ones, it's just extra damage.
Like, but what does it look like whenever
Oh,
you're
sure.
able to go and kill one?
So it's a pretty simple mechanic, really. It's very similar to, if people remember, the Hero Quest game back in the day. I don't think my dice are very close at hand, but you're essentially rolling dice, and depending on the weapon you have is how many dice, and it's just 6-sided dice. It's how many dice you get to roll, and each die has either a hit or a miss, basically. And so for every hit, you've killed like one of the small zombies. And depending on how big the weapon is how much damage it actually does per hit. So
Okay.
if you have your standard walker, it's just 1 hit and 1 damage to kill. This guy started painting, he's got jeans.
Love it.
So if you have something like the chainsaw, which is your fun melee weapon, that does 5 different dice of oh geez, I'm gonna say 2 damage, and I might be wrong. But so you could wipe out potentially, 5 entire zombies at one time.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That is lots of fun. Where can everybody watch you play? Where are the different places that people can watch you?
Right now I'm focused on Twitch, so you can get me at twitch.tv/samproof. I'm doing this show. I'm on break right now, but starting back in March, maybe sooner, I'll be doing Fridays, Friday mornings. I also do sort of a build day earlier in the week. I think I'm doing that Mondays now. I'm kind of looking at my schedule. And that whole thing works like you help me decide what that map is going to look like. And you can use things like the Twitch channel points to add or do different things. Like I start with a set number of heroes. I have 6 heroes that I'm allowed to use. You can cut that number down.
Evil.
Yeah, right. There are spawn points for the zombies. It starts at 2, but you can add on to that and things like that. So there's just an infinite amount of things that you can do to make it really, really hard.
That is so much fun.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun. You said Friday mornings back
Yes.
in March.
Yeah, starting March.
Starting March. I like that. I like that. See, I was always like, before the Whisperers came on in Walking Dead, like I dropped them after the Whisperers came on.
I stuck around.
Did you? Well, I've seen that the last, the last season is here, and I think that I need to go and probably rewatch it from the beginning, because like I liked zombies before Walking Dead was a thing, and then I kind of got zombie fatigue, if you will.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. There's been a lot of like, the minute Walking Dead came out, there's so many other franchises were like, well, we gotta do that.
We need zombies too.
And I love zombies. I also like vampires, and I'm like, how come there's no vampire love right now? But there's some good zombie stuff out there. Yeah.
Did you watch the new Interview with the Vampire?
No, I never got so into that series of things, like that whole franchise. My wife loves it. She loves anything Anne Rice. But I don't know. That didn't appeal to me as much.
I watched one episode. It was pretty good, but it wasn't enough to like get me honed in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I liked more of the style, like the romanticized style, like Bram Stoker, like
yeah, totally, exactly.
That whole era, like, is just kind of a thing for me anyways. Like, I know way more about like European culture and well, anything really, monarchies, than I even know about the history of the United States. I'm not a good American. I'm not a good American.
I mean, but really, doesn't that make you a good American?
Really? Yeah, you're
'Cause
you're not wrong because I mean, I've been
that's the
listening
template.
to well, I've been listening to Dark History with Bailey Sarian, right? So
Mhm.
I binged that entire show. I'm not an affiliate, just throwing that out there, but I'm just saying, like, oh my gosh, if you want to know how America was based,
Mm.
definitely go and watch it. And yeah, just
All right.
yeah, it's she has it on YouTube, and then she also I actually listened to it on just on the
Podcast.
as a
Yeah.
podcast.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I have an Apple device. They've got me by the clothes. They have me for life.
I have one of the other ones, but
Yeah,
I can't say
pleasant.
it or it will pipe up and start talking to us.
Oh yes, absolutely. Well, and that's a whole nother thing is like all the crazy stuff that all of technology is doing, right? So
Yeah.
in my other business, I do AI. I work with AI and
Nice.
automations, and I'm a web developer, right?
Hmm.
So everything that we're putting together right now, it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy because it literally, rather than spending an entire afternoon trying to do one thing, it literally can do it in like 5 seconds.
Oh yeah.
And yeah. Chat GPT. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Oh, I was just doing that before I jumped on
So was I. So was I. I
here.
love Chat GPT so much. Like
Yeah.
I got a wild hair. It was like, you know what? I'm gonna learn how to write a D&D campaign. And then like
Nice.
so I started on it yesterday, and I haven't mentioned it before. I've just recently been diagnosed with ADHD. So
I
I
haven't been diagnosed, but I'm pretty sure it's clear. Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, even if it's just like a oh, what's the word? Formality.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
I encourage everyone to go get it because then you can be like,
Yeah.
okay, Dave is that's what I call my ADHD, Dave, because it's like dopamine, blah 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 blah, variability, executive function disorder or something like that. Anyways,
Mhm.
it was catchy. It was catchy. God damn it, Dave. That's anytime that I have something that I brain fart, that's exactly where I turn to.
Yeah.
But so yesterday, like I don't know a whole lot about D&D, right?
Mhm.
But I've always found it fascinating. I've got into it as far as building a character sheet and kind of listening to others. Well, yesterday I was like, okay, I'm gonna write a campaign. And so I looked up how to do that, and I got a basic understanding, and then I wrote like 30 freaking pages
Nice.
between between Chat GPT and then
Hmm.
going through and referencing the different characters and everything from like it was a 12-hour kind of thing, but
Wow.
it was I'm gonna have some fun whenever the
Nice.
story is done because I'm having fun just writing it. But
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I
yeah.
haven't played D&D in a very long time and I miss it. It's a good time.
I live in the middle of nowhere. Like the high fashion here is freaking cowboy boots and
Right.
like spitting on things. Like I I don't fit in. I'm a nerd. So there's not really a whole lot of gaming stuff that's going
Yeah.
on. So that was kind of where I was excited to kind of um see kind of what was going on. And I'm building with this story that I'm writing, I'm actually going to be building a virtual world with it.
Cool.
Like the little avatars can walk around it and actually play
Nice.
games. But
What engine are you using for that?
Gather Town.
Okay. I have not heard
Yeah.
that one.
Oh my God. It's so much fun.
Hmm.
I'm building a virtual con,
Hmm.
and we're going to have vendors, we're going to have streamers, we're going to have musicians stream as well. So if you want in on that message, you can go ahead and get a hold of me because I'm going to have people basically just streaming what they normally would already stream and just getting a little bit more exposure. So
Maybe.
yeah, that'll be
Yeah.
in May.
Okay.
Looking for the first week of May, but that's not finalized quite yet. So,
Okay.
but don't tell anybody.
Okay.
Totally joking, totally joking. Okay. So just to kind of get this wrapped up, why don't you tell people where they can find you once again?
Sure. You can find me at twitch.tv/samproof or go to samproof.tv and you'll find all my links there.
Awesome. And next week, we're going to actually have Jake W. Turner. He is another sort of game master, and he's going to bless us with his presence. And that is a wrap on the very first episode. You popped in my cherry.
Glad to help.
Yes. Well, I sure
Cool.
do appreciate it.
Of
And
course.
you'll be able to find these on Facebook and on YouTube. And
Mhm.
the link will be posted whenever the show is posted.
Okay. When roughly what's your timeline like?
Well, let's see. Since there's literally no editing, I'm going
Mhm.
to process it and get everything kind of processed, and we're gonna stick it straight on there. That's
Cool.
exactly what I like our listeners to know too, is everything is first shot. There's no editing. There's no fancy schmancy. You get us
Awesome.
how you get us. That's how it is.
Cool, cool. I will definitely post some links and push it.
Awesome. Well, it
All
has
right.
been my pleasure.
Thank you. Yeah, anytime. Let me know if you want me back for anything.
I will, and I'll get a hold of
Cool,
you
cool.
after we get off of here, and we'll go from there.
All right. All
All right.
right. Take it
Thank
easy.
you.
Have a great day. All
You
right.
as
Bye.
well. Bye.